So hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Chris and this is kind of what I do. So this Amiga 3000T came all the way from the West Coast. This was part of a local TV station in Oregon. It was stored in a shed outside, inside, storage shed for over 20 years, and it had a video toaster in it. The case was cut to have the video toaster 2000, I believe it was, in the 3000. It had a CD-ROM in it at the time, but Mike took the CD-ROM out, lightened the load a little bit. Power supply in this bad boy is like 15 US pounds. We're going to go over what this is, what makes it so special, and why the heck is it so big. Let's start it up. Take it for a spin. So this video is going to come in dribs and drabs. I might be wearing different clothes because I'm filming different sections at different days. This is in the future when this thing's all done and I fixed it. Sort of. This 3000 tower, when I first got it, looked like this. You can see the whole transplant surgery on Mike's channel. I will link it in the description down below, and here's a banner bar of his channel right here where you can go check out various Amiga things, Macintosh repairs, and other retro computer stuff. Really cool, really great job. Way better filmer than I am. So let's get into this. This did not look so nice when I got it. I asked Mike to leave the battery in it because I like to do my own restorations. I would like to thank Mike and Gary for letting me purchase this. There have only been a couple Amigas that I need. Now I only need one, 4000T. If you got one out there and you want to get rid of it, hook a brother up. Anywho, to remove this case, well, this is not the original key. It had a piece of aluminum tape over it when I got it. So I went to Home Depot, Lowe's, and just bought myself a gate lock just to fill the hole. I'm going to get the actual Coke machine style lock for it. To remove the case of a 3000T, it's kind of like weird. It has pinch points, but it also has something at the bottom you gotta grab. But I just want to be careful taking it off because these lids are irreplaceable. And it has pressure tabs here, 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 and a fold-in tab here. There are two slots for floppy drives. Like Amiga 3000, it has a cover over it. I actually believe it's the same 3000 cover as the desktop. All 3000s have dual drives, but if you only have one, they came with this cover. You just pop it out, and then it removes, and you have dual drives. Normally in here, there is a piece of paper. I have the piece of paper I just took out for now. It's inside the case. You have two 5 1/4 drive bays on this machine, but the top 5 1/4 drive bay houses the key lock, power and hard drive light, and the actual power button. To remove the case, this is a solid side, so you can remove this, and there's another piece of steel that houses the motherboard, the back side. It has big feet on the bottom, big feet that bolt in with these metal balls, and all of them bend because this thing is 68 pounds of love. She's a big girl. I'm going to remove the screws with a power screwdriver because I'm extremely lazy, and I have taken this apart more times than I care to. On the back of the unit, you have a massive power supply. You also have the special little double adapter where you can shove the female in so you could get the monitor power, kind of like the 4000 desktop has. I'm going to remove these two screws. This goofy thing down here was the modification of the video toaster. I have since put a slot cover in it, but we still have this weird thing. They did punch a hole with a ZIF insert for a screw to screw the video toaster in. We have a normal Amiga 3000 2000 keyboard, mouse 1, joystick, it's conveniently labeled mouse 2 on here, serial port, floppy disk drive, SCSI port, parallel, 15 kHz RGB, 31 kHz RGB with the Amber scan doubler. 2 ports for audio. You have a high pot here for adjusting the frequency a little bit. This is serial number 442 of the Amiga 3000 towers. How many of these were made? Supposedly, according to Commodore records, 8,000 towers were made. 8,000. Wow, well look at this monstrosity. Whoa. This thing has 5 Zorros, 4 16-bit ISA slots. Normally the 2000 would have 8-bit. These are full 16-bit ISAs. 5 Zorro 3s and a video card slot, just like the Amiga 2000 and 4000 have, and the 3000 desktop. Basically, if you take this motherboard and cut it right here, okay, and then this would be your daughter card with a couple extra slots, this is nothing like the 3000 desktop. The chip arrangement is just weird. Normally on a 3000 desktop, in the lower left where the glue logic is, you have your chip RAM, which is in dips. As a factory option, you'd have 1 meg of chip RAM here, or 1 meg of fast RAM in dip, and then you could take that 1 meg of fast RAM and move it down here to the chip RAM dips and get your 2 meg off an 8372B Agnes, which was 2 meg for that time. It also was the same Agnes that was in the DKB Mega Chip. Sometimes you'll see them come up for sale on eBay. Most now have the 8375. Now I've taken the SCSI cable out of this for the meantime because I have an issue with this machine that I need to fix. It does function for about 5 minutes, and then it sorts of puts little snowflake pepper dots of pixels randomly on the machine and then crashes. I have to let it cool off for 10 minutes, then it'll turn back on. Otherwise, the power light just blinks extremely fast and it continually loops. But it does work. Here's that nice fancy thing I was telling you about. It would basically sit on the front to let the user know that this area is for an additional 5 1/4 inch drive. With like an aluminum tape back, you could probably recreate this. 4 holes in the front for the tray removal and 4 in the back. And I'll show you the feet. That is a 3000T foot. You can see how it's a little bent right here. It's tweaked because it has a crack in it from people tilting the case. So this needs to be kind of recreated. One of my Discord friends who's on the Pi Amiga team is an excellent 3D recreator, and we're going to see if I'm going to ship one of these down to him, see if he can recreate it. The ball's going to be unique because it is made of steel and it weighs probably about 1.5 pounds. This is going to be weird, me removing this case. It flexes out. It does not fit in. You have to wedge it in. It's really weird. The drive tray has rails. There's rails here that you take off and you slide into these things. Unfortunately, most of these rails are gone. You can 3D print these. There are 3D prints available for the rails. Hard drive has a weird L bracket like this, where you mount your hard drive to. This comes off. You mount your hard drive to this piece, and it sits in this tray. You can have 2, or you can have 2 slot type drives. Now let's set this back up. Yep, nope. Okay. With the feet off, it's extremely top heavy and will tip over very easy. I mean, very, very easy. Because this power supply, all the way up here, weighs 15 pounds. This is a 12-volt fan, and it is loud as a tugboat. All the Amiga 3000 towers came with the FB357A high-density floppy drive, or even 2 of them if you ordered them from Commodore that way. How big is this motherboard alone? This is the largest motherboard Commodore ever made. 18.5 inches. 14 to 14.5 inches. Right here we have an accelerator slot, like the 3000 and 4000 fast RAM. You have 2 ROMs, and the battery lives right smack here, above the FPU and all your capacitors. And you know what that means? When the battery breaks, it blows all of the ROM lines through the FPU, which also go to the Super DMAC and the Fat Gary and the CPU and Ramsey and everything to make the machine start, and destroys it. And therefore it leaks straight down out of the FPU like a waterfall. Well, that sticker just into the glue logic and then into the chip RAM. The chip RAM is also zip. 44256Ks, need 8 of them to make 1 meg. And that is the 2 mega chip RAM.
Understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
It comes with 1 meg soldered on the board of the Zip 20, and the other are socketed in case you would just buy them and you would want 2 megs. Didn't come with 2 megs, came at 1. Right here is Fat Agnes. She's an 8372B. So every Amiga 3000T is revision 6.1. So after Agnes, you got your Fat Gary.
Who is this Gary character?
Super DMAC 02 in this case. I thought it was the 04. All towers are supposed to have the rare Super DMAC 04. Here's your Western Digital Proto SCSI chip, just like every Amiga 3000 has. You can update this to the AMD when you tie it with a Super Buster 11 for better Zorro 3 compatibility. Here's your even and odd CIAs. You also have a serial port, sorry about the lighting, a serial port that is on a ribbon cable. Plugs into a little floppy-ish connector. Normal EMI filter caps and the whole shabizzle with those things. Normal 245 glue logic up top. So here's your 68030, 25 megahertz. Your Ramsey 04, which is supposed to be an 07, so who knows what happened with that. And over here in the chip RAM next to your glue logic is your Super Buster 07. You have a normal ATX power supply, just like a modern 24-pin ATX power supply. But if you plug an ATX power supply into this motherboard without doing pin swaps, you can kiss thousands of dollars goodbye, because the pins are not the same as a 1990 Amiga 3000T. Your Denise sits right next to it. She's the ECS model. This is the 8373R4 PD. You can also have the 8373. Here we have the Amber chip and the Oki Data RAM, which is such a pain in the butt. Phase lock loop NE564, which is just such a pain in the babushka. You have your Vidiot 1 for your RGB and your Vidiot 2 for the scan doubled Amber through these 4 buffer chips and these 3 Oki Data RAM chips. Red, green, blue. This is your video slot. Audio output right here. This is that little adjustment screw I told you about here. This is the potentiometer to adjust the phase or the megahertz of the 2 sync signals for the 15 and the scan doubled 31. Paula's hanging down here near the bottom, right below the graphic slot. It's a little weird, you know, and your audio circuitry is over here. Your op amp sits way down here in the back, LF347. This has been recapped, minus a couple because I didn't have them, and I have an interesting story when we get to it on this decoupling capacitor right here, which this board sits on rubber-ish plastic pegs that are like around a metal screw hole, like a raised post that is welded to the back of this board. A rubber plasticky post is put over top of that. The board sits on that on these ground points and is screwed in with machine screws. You also have these 4, they're bolted in to the bottom of the motherboard, accelerator screw-in slots, like the plastic ones you would get on a 3000. Well, you get 4 of these ones for some accelerator that was going to be super humongous at the time. All of them came with 204. No more super kickstarts on the towers. Sorry if I look like death warmed over. I just sneezed like 18 times. Board has been recapped minus a couple because I thought I had a weird power supply issue and I was going to put an ATX in, and I think it's just chip RAM is my issue. I'm still going to do the ATX power supply conversion just because I'm a moron and I want to see if it can be done. So I hope this was interesting and a little bit of history. So stay tuned, stick around, and watch the rest of this and this series about the rebuilding of this wonderful machine.